It's Wednesday, December 23rd, 2020. I'm Greg Nibbler, and this is Two Box Live. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us wherever you are. We appreciate it. This is Two Box Live, part of Two Box Media, TWO Box Media. Wherever you're finding us, whenever you're finding us, please hit subscribe, share the show, let other people know about it. Whatever channel you're on, like them all. That'd be great. We've got a lot to talk about today, though. So coming up here in just a little bit, we've got a special package that we're going to play for you, talking about online games for the holidays. We're going to talk about KFC. Yes, KFC. But let's start off with some trending news here at the top of the show. And in case you didn't know, there's supposedly a stimulus package that's going to be coming through having to do with the coronavirus and everything else that's going on with that. So there is a lot that's going to be happening there. But there's one key element, though, that I wanted to talk about. And it has to do with something that kind of stuck out to me, and it had to do with streaming content. I'm in the business of streaming content. That is definitely of note. We all stream things. And there was something in there talking about 10-year jail sentences. And I wanted to bring up what that was and try to explain a little bit more about it. This is something that's buried in there, buried in the actual bill, if it goes through. It's called the Protecting Lawful Streaming Act. And what this has to do with is that they basically said is that people who are streaming pirated content, copyrighted content, could face up to 10 years in jail and millions of dollars of fines. Now, I don't know about you. We're all online. Maybe we happen to end up on a site sometimes that may not be exactly above board, and you happen to stream something. That would cause me some concern seeing this 10-year jail sentence. However, according to the government, according to this law, you are not who they're looking for, unless you happen to be the person who is taking pirated content and then restreaming it yourself in a mass amount. Then you are exactly who they're looking for, because that's what this is based around. So it was a whole group of people that kind of came together to put this act together, again, called the Protecting Lawful Streaming Act. And the idea is it's going after these major people who have done it. Now, a couple of years ago, and actually I believe they just got sentenced last year, there were a couple of sites, one called I Stream It All and one called Jetflix. So what these people did, these two guys, is they went and had a massive computer system that went in and basically ripped content off of major sites like Netflix, Hulu, you name it, and all around the world. They would do that and then upload it to their own server and then charge a subscription fee to subscribe to, say, Jetflix. And they would then also send out emails to everybody who's already subscribed to Netflix or Hulu and say, hey, cancel those, come to ours, for all their stolen content. It's not the brightest move, although one of them said that they made about $1 million on it just in doing that. However, you can see why that might be an issue for maybe Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus, whoever else is out there. So that's what this law would be targeting, and that's who they're going after. They did say specifically, the law says individuals who access pirated streams or unwittingly stream unauthorized copies of copyrighted works would be the ones who are not going to be prosecuted by this law. But I saw that in there, wanted to bring that up, clarify it a little bit. So if you are the one who accidentally goes to one of the sites, I mean, hey, you probably shouldn't do that anyway, but you're not necessarily going to go to jail for it. I'm not saying it's legal. I'm not saying do it. You're not the one that this thing is going after. But I want to bring that up. Again, we don't even know if this stimulus package is going to go through, but that was one of the millions of other things it seems like that were also included in there, but that's something that eventually will be coming forth, I would imagine, whether it's with this or something else. So pay attention to that. Continuing on here, let's do some more trending topics to talk about. Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Did you know that there's a presidential election that happened, and on January 20th, we're having a new president? But one of the things I want to focus on has to do with Twitter. Now, 2016, obviously Twitter was still a big deal, but not as big a deal as it is now. So Barack Obama had the @POTUS handle. He handed that off to President Trump with about 16 million followers that went with it. And those just kind of transferred with that @POTUS handle. There's also the other ones at White House. There's VP. And I think it's about 20 or so different ones that are official governmental handles. Now, what's happening with this is when Trump is supposed to hand this over to Biden, here is what Twitter has stated on how it's going to work. Biden's not just going to get access to it and all of those followers. According to Twitter, what's going to happen is that handle will transfer to Biden's campaign, Biden's presidency, but it's going to be wiped of followers. So all the followers are going to go back to zero. This is a point of contention that you're going to be seeing from the Biden campaign, because they're like, hey, we should get to keep the 33 million or so followers that are now there. So it's over double what it was previously 4 years ago. Makes sense. There's a lot more people on Twitter now. So that's going to get wiped clean. The ones that are the people who are following POTUS right now, they will get a notification saying, hey, if you want to continue following, you can opt in to do so. Otherwise, you're going to be unfollowing it. The other thing is that all of the tweets that are up there right now will also be wiped off of there and be archived under POTUS 45. So all of the things that Trump said, that kind of makes sense. Those are his posts. Those will go to an archived one, and those are kind of official records that anybody can go and access. But that's how that Twitter transfer is going to happen. I found that pretty interesting. I mean, this is certainly something that nobody's really thought of before on how this actually all is supposed to work, and Twitter is the one who gets to set those policies. But that is how they said they're going to do it. So as of January 20th, as if it goes according to plan right now, there will be 0 followers on POTUS for probably a split second before everybody follows back. But that's something interesting of note, and that's how that's going to work as far as the transfer of that. And that's along with all those other governmental handles as well. So something that's trending right now. I think you'll see a little bit more about this in the coming weeks. So something to pay attention to, and maybe Twitter changes their policy. Maybe they keep the followers. We don't know. Something trending, though, to follow along with. All right, some more trending news. If you're an Apple fan, I'm sure you've been paying attention to this, and it has to do with the possibility of Apple coming up with their own car. This is not a new topic. This has been talked about for years, about Apple possibly getting into the vehicle game with an electric vehicle of their own. Now, this is not an official thing from Apple, but it does come from Reuters, where what's being stated now is that Apple is still pursuing this dream of the iCar, or whatever it is that they would end up calling this thing. And there's several different reasons that they're talking about it right now. I mean, there's been speculation that Apple dropped it because they weren't able to develop it properly, but now they're saying, according to these reports, that by 2024 they expect to have a car out on the road. And with that, a few things of note that have come out. There's Elon Musk, who has actually spoke about this. It's saying that he reached out to Apple on behalf of Tesla. It's a couple of years ago. We don't know exactly when, but he said when Tesla was worth about 1/10 of what it's worth right now, which would put it estimated maybe 2017, maybe beginning of 2018, when they were having some troubles. And he said that he personally reached out to Apple to try to get a meeting with Tim Cook to talk about selling Tesla to Apple, and that Tim Cook didn't return his call. Tim Cook didn't take the meeting. This is according to Elon Musk. Again, he posted this on Twitter. No word from Apple, because they never will say anything like this until there's something official to say. But there's enough reports on this that it does sound like Apple is going forward with that. A couple of keynotes, according to the plans, according to the discussion, is that they have some kind of proprietary battery system that they believe would bring the price of the car down and also increase the duration that it would last, which means more mileage out of one charge. If they were able to do that, yeah, that would be a big thing. By 2024, I would expect a lot of other companies to catch up to that kind of tech, but whatever it is Apple's working on, they think they could do that. And this is why I want to bring up this question to everybody who's watching this now, whenever, wherever you're watching this, but particularly if you're watching live right now. Is an Apple car something you would be interested in? I know people who are in the Apple ecosystem love Apple. Mike Solis. So I know that. I understand that people love their Apple products. Is this something that you would be willing to go along with? Just blanketly trust it and be like, yes, I want an iCar that's probably going to be integrated in with your iPhone and your iPad. I'm sure the navigation system would be an iPad. You probably by then you'll have the Apple AR goggles you would wear while you ride around in it. Maybe it's autonomous. Yes, because it's Apple, you could probably still sell the hardcore fans. Is it enough to make it worth an entire division of Apple cars? That remains to be seen, although Apple certainly has the money to make that happen. But that is the rumors that by 2024, we could be getting an Apple car of some kind, whatever it would be called. This also kind of coincides with another report that came out from Bloomberg talking about electric vehicles in the fact that they believe that by 2023, 2024, because of battery technology as a whole in the industry, that they think electric vehicles could drop below the price of gas-powered cars, which kind of falls in line with a lot of prognostications as far as where that tech is going to be going, because eventually it's going to be electric vehicles over gas for the most part. But they think that's kind of the tipping point that year. So it would be a good time to launch an iCar. Is that something you'd want? Let me know. Let me know. I'm seeing some comments here. Wayne says, no Apple Car for me. Not a fan of Apple products in general. Yeah, there's certainly a lot of people who would be kind of conversely on each side of that. But that is where we're at with that rumor. Got to bring it up anytime Apple talks about a new product, or there's a rumor of Apple talking about a new product. Everybody wants to know about it. All right, speaking of new products, you know, the gaming console wars have been very heated this year. You've got the new PlayStation 5. You got the new Xbox Series X and Series S. You still have Nintendo Switch out there selling a lot. But now, KFC, yes, Kentucky Fried Chicken, officially entering into the gaming console wars. Now, I thought this was a joke at first because KFC's marketing, let's be honest, it's been pretty genius a lot of times when it comes to tech devices, and they made small amounts of things, but this apparently is a real thing, the KFC Gaming Console, and it was confirmed by an Intel PR rep, so Mark Walton, who unveiled this, and it's a real thing. It's a KFC console, a gaming console. The specs on it, I'm going to talk about those here in a minute, are pretty amazing, but the key thing being this, it was actually designed by a company called Cooler Master, and you can keep your chicken warm while playing the game. Yes, it's got a little mini, I guess a warming station in there to keep your chicken nice and fresh and warm while you're gaming. So in between games, you can snack on chicken. The console, let's talk about the specs. Now, this is according to them, that the specs on it is that it will handle 4K. It'll handle 240 frames per second, according to them. It's VR ready. It has ray tracing capabilities, and that is that's a pretty great standard actually for a console to have all of those abilities. That's right up there with the highest end consoles. I don't even know if PlayStation can handle 240 frames per second, to be honest. That sounds more like something from a PC. I could be wrong on that. Regardless, this is a console that they said is going to, that they have made. Intel's behind it. As far as the internals, a top-end Intel CPU, it's got an Asus swappable mini GPU. It's got two 1 terabyte SSD cards from Seagate. This thing is pretty much a beast. How many are going to get made? We don't know. Are you going to be able to get your hands on one? We don't know. I definitely would use this, and I totally would keep chicken nuggets warm in this thing. I think that's a dangerous combination to have access to something like that. But you know what? I would totally play one. KFC, if you want to send me one, I will gladly showcase it here on 2Box Live to let everybody see what it's like. And speaking of KFC marketing, you got to say it's been pretty genius lately. I know this is not an advertisement. KFC's not paying for spots, but the Recipe for Seduction movie it's pretty funny. It really is. With Mario Lopez, it's pretty funny. I suggest it. All right, but there we go. The KFC gaming console is real. All right, couple things here left. One, I want to talk about this, and it's going to kind of lead into our next topic. So Among Us has clearly been a popular game to play, but I had no idea, and maybe a lot of people didn't, how popular. So they released some numbers, and in November alone, 500 million people played Among Us. 500 million, 500 million people played Among Us, making it the most popular mobile game for a month of all time. I mean, that's beating out like Pokemon Go. That's beating out Candy Crush. All of those games, Among Us topped them. And it's a pretty amazing success story, you got to say, for 2020 on what they've been able to do with that. A couple of things of note, though. So this game actually came out back in 2018. That's when it was first released. But it didn't take off until really this year. Clearly, quarantine helped. I mean, you get things like Animal Crossing, the same thing. Quarantine helped with that, and long distance and social distance, because people could play online together. You can play up to 10 people. You can set it as a private room. You can sit there and smack talk to each other if you set up also like a Zoom or something along those lines. But Twitch is where it really took off when people started playing it on Twitch. In particular, I mean, AOC, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, when she played it, she had about 400,000 people watching concurrently at one point, watching her play Among Us. Something of note, though, from this company. So the company is called Inner Sloth. According to reports, there are only 4 full-time employees at that company. 4 that created this game. I mean, if nothing else, that's got to give you hope for every game developer out there, every app developer looking at that. A 4-person team created this thing. They talked about a sequel, and then it got so popular, they're like, nope, we'll just stick with the one that we've got, and we'll kind of add some more maps and improve that. But 4 people with Among Us have made that huge. That's a pretty cool story to kind of round out the year, I think, as far as somebody sticking to it and then finding success. So good for you, Among Us and Inner Sloth creators. Pretty fascinating stuff. All right, speaking of online gaming, we put together a little thing to showcase here. And this is having to do with the fact that with the holidays, probably most of you out there are safely spending those times apart. And that's a lot of long distance celebrations this year, whatever it is you're celebrating. But with that, there's still ways to connect thanks to technology. And that's not something new. We've talked about different ways you can have meetings, Zoom, Google Meets, Facebook, Apple, whatever it is that you're using, FaceTime. But online gaming is something that you can still do as well. So we wanted to showcase just a few different ways you can do that. And that's why we put this together. It's for some remote online gameplay for you and your family and friends. With the holidays upon us and most of the world still obviously spending that normally group time apart, it's important to remember you can still enjoy some game time with family and friends. Whether you're connecting on Zoom or FaceTime or Facebook or whatever you use, you can still have a good time. And that's what we want to do here, is give you some recommendations for 4 games you can play online with family and friends. Number 1, board games. There are a few ways to play board games online, but let's highlight a classic, Monopoly. Monopoly is available as a mobile game on all platforms, and you can play with up to 4 people at the same time. You will all need to download it first for a price of about $4, but then you'll have it forever. Once it's downloaded, you just set up a game and share the code with the other participants. Then everyone can log in and choose their characters. Obviously, smack talking is generally a part of Monopoly, and that's why starting an online meeting to coincide with it helps you efficiently do that. The good thing is you won't be in person, so flipping over the board is not an option. Also, the game handles the banker side of things, so it's a lot harder to cheat. Another option for a classic board game is Settlers of Catan. You can play in real time, taking turns, or you can even do something called Catan Anytime, where you take turns as you have time to play. You do so with a browser-based app that works on virtually any device. This could be maddening if your roads keep getting blocked, but just another example of a way to play online. There are also tons of other board games available, so be sure to check your mobile app store for the ones you want. Number 2, Jackbox Games. Jackboxgames.com offers a plethora of games for you to choose from, with everything from trivia to drawing games to fibbage and more. It does cost money to purchase the packs, so we would recommend one of the party packs to get you going, which tend to be around $25 but are frequently on sale. Only one person needs to make this purchase, however. To play online with multiple people, you'll once again log on to your favorite online meeting program, open up the games you've just purchased, and share your screen. Everyone can play the game by using their mobile devices or a laptop and going to the browser jackbox.tv and joining the game you create. It's pretty simple, and honestly, these things are a lot of fun since there's so many options. As you go through, you may find that you like one style of game over another, so be sure to check out the deals that they have on the website. Number 3, poker. Who doesn't love a good legal game of poker to show off your skills to your family and friends if you feel so brave? One of the best apps we found to do this with is called Poker Face from a company called Communix, and it's set up for the classic Texas Hold'em. Again, everyone will need to download the app onto their mobile devices, but it's free to start with. Once everyone has downloaded it and set it up, you can start a game to have everyone join. The app itself allows for video and audio feeds within it, so you can actually see everyone during the game, and that way you can better notice if your buddy has a really bad tell when they have a good hand. For the pay side of it, you do get a number of free chips to start with, and then you can buy more through in-app purchases. Quick tip, if you're one of the first ones to set it up, be sure that you invite your friends to the Poker Face app from within it. That way, you get a few bonus chips. It's just a good way to get started, and it pays to be an early adopter. Number 4, the extremely popular and always fun Among Us. This game has had a huge year, being downloaded over 217 million times in 2020 to date, and is still finding massive adoption. The reason is because it's simple to play. And once again, you can play with family and friends in private games. If you haven't played it, here's how it works. You sign into your account, set up your player, and then you appear as a little space guy crew member on board a spaceship or some planet base, etc. The goal is to run around and complete random tasks in order to put your ship back together and return to Earth. However, one member of the group will be designated as the imposter. Only the imposter will know it's them, and their job will be to discreetly kill the other members without getting caught. As bodies of crew members are found, a group meeting can be called to vote on who the imposter is. The imposter, of course, will try to convince crew members that it's someone else, and the entire group can call spontaneous votes to kick someone out of the ship. The game ends with either all tasks having been completed, the imposter getting caught, or by the imposter dispatching all of the crew members. Games are usually quick, and you can have a lot of fun if you're all on a Zoom call relaying information to each other. So there you have it. And by all means, there are plenty of other mobile games out there. We just wanted to give you a few recommendations. But what do you want to play? What do you do when you're socially distanced and long distance hanging out? Well, let us know. Send us an email, leave a comment, or just start playing and invite us. And there we go. So just some examples of what you can do there to play online. Now, obviously, there's a lot of other ones that you can do. Let us know in the comments on whether that video on its own or on this video. Let us know what you're playing, how you're trying to spend some time online with your family, your friends, whatever it is that you may be celebrating or doing, whether it's Christmas or New Year's or whatever else is going on. Let us know. Let us know in the comments what some other games are that you can play online. And I want to thank you sincerely for watching the show and for liking this channel and for sharing the episodes. It means a lot, and we appreciate it quite a bit on what you're doing with that. And so again, it's 2Box Media, TWO, Box Media. So whatever platform you like to watch on, we are probably on there, and then you can watch it along with us. And if you have suggestions, want to talk to us, email Greg at 2boxmedia.com, info at 2boxmedia.com. Either one of those will get through to us, and certainly happy to talk to any of you about whatever it is you want to bring up. Also do that and leaving comments. That's another great way as well. So thank you very, very much. And we are not going to be back on Friday. Normally we're Mondays and Fridays. That's why we did Mondays and Wednesdays this week, because Friday is Christmas. So we're taking that day off, but we will be back on Monday. So Monday, a brand new episode, brand new shows. We'll have guests next week. We have all kinds of things in the works. And I want to just kind of give a little bit of tease ahead. We're also going to be covering a lot of what's going on at CES, which is, believe it or not, only a couple of weeks away, which weird to think about, but that's where this year's at. It's all virtual this year, which means we're going to be covering it from here, but we will have a lot coming up with that. So thank you very much, everybody. I want everybody to have a great holiday on behalf of myself, Mike Solis, Jess Serba. I'm Greg Nibbler. Have a great holiday, and we'll talk to you on Monday with more 2Box Live.